I'd like to introduce like a different part of my channel, just called Real Talk. And this isn't supposed to be like hilarious or anything, or like any kind of just like, man, this is like, there might be funny elements in it. This isn't like really like supposed to be a funny thing. Like, this is just me like opening up and, you know, like speaking from like the heart and keeping it real, you know, speaking from the mind or whatever, you know, whatever comes to mind. And right now the topic, this is going to be a trilogy. It's a trilogy on the topic of friends and like what having good friends around you can really do for you, because I feel like that's so important. And you know, the three guys that are around me the most, that's the ones I'm gonna be talking about. So I mean, to get things started, I guess I'll just start off with my first, well, I'm not gonna say my first friend, like he's my first friend ever, but like, you know, I'm gonna start things off with the person that like I came up with the idea because I was listening to his music, but you know, Tron Walker, Tron, you know, the next sensation. This nigga is hot. This nigga is amazing. But you know, to explain him and how much he helps me, like I'm not gonna say like, oh, you know, he loves us, you know, he wants to see us grind, man. Like he's always like the funny one, like he keeps the morale up, you know, he's a cool dude, he's amazing, he's this, he's that. You know, nah, like I'm not, that's not how I'm gonna explain it. Even though all of that's true, like I'm not gonna take that from like he's a great dude, like all that, like everything I said is spot on. It's spot on, but like that's just not like, that won't help you understand Tron enough. Like I have to tell you this story. This is the story that comes to mind every time I think of Tron. So like a year or so, maybe 2 years ago, me and this dude named Moss, you know, well no, let me start off like this. Me and Tron, we was always cool, you know, since we was in like, you know, elementary school and all that. You know, we was never that tight, but we was cool. You know what I'm saying? It gets to high school and all that, and I start hearing him like, oh, okay, like, he's a rapper. I'm just thinking to myself like, you know, a rapper, you know, everybody's a rapper. All this, all that, you know. Even though he was one of the first people to start doing it, you know, still it's just like, you know, everybody's a rapper. So eventually I started getting into it with this dude named Moss, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, man, we rapping and all that, and we make like 2 songs, and I feel myself getting better every time I make a song. So me and Moss get to this point where we're like, hey, he comes out, he's like, hey, I'm like, what's up, dude? He's like, yo, like, let's make a song and we're gonna let Tron feature. I said, what? Yeah, we're gonna let this dude Tron down, we're gonna let him feature. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. And he was like, now listen, T, like this nigga Tron, this nigga is next level. Like, man, this dude is phenomenal. He's great. He's something spectacular. He's like, he'll probably wash us, he'll probably mess over. So I'm like, yo, like, you saying that because you straight ass water. Like, you can't rap with me. Like, he might mess over you, but he won't mess over me, because like I'm lyrically gifted, I'm doing this. Like, I can see that I'm like ahead of the game. And he was like, he argued me for a minute and he just gave up. He was like, you know what? All right. So, you know, I spent time writing my verse, you know, and getting ready to record it, and like my verse was basically me narrating a murder, you know, a guy doing a drive-by, and at the end of the verse, I was like, unless another body for your rap sheet, but I'm a rap sheet off my rap sheet while you rap sheet up in this situation. And I thought that shit was just hot. I thought that was just the hottest shit, and I'm like, man, niggas can't fuck with that, because that was just amazing. Like the storytelling, that last bar, like the wordplay, it was too phenomenal. Like, niggas enjoyed that. So, you know, I record my verse, you know, and, you know, I let Moss go first because this shit was trash, of course, you know, then I went second. And after that, Tron went, you know, but he didn't start recording immediately. Tron, he actually just went sat in the closet, because back then we was recording out of the closet in Tron house, because like, we was young and we was just trying to hustle to get it. Like, the music was great, the music was great quality, but you know, like, we didn't have the resources to go to a studio and all that like we do now, so we was recording out of the closet, you know, just the meaning of like hustling and grinding and ambition. But like, he sat down in the closet, tight space, and like, he had his pen and paper, and he just started listening to the beat, and he would like nod his head and write, and like sometimes he would like laugh like and then he would like just keep nodding his head and write, and like I was looking at him like, yo, this nigga's wild, like what the fuck is going on over there, like what is this nigga doing? So it gets to the point where like I leave specifically to go get refreshments, because you know we were all dropping in hot fire, so our mouths got like dry and all that. So I went to get refreshments, and I don't know if I took like too long of a time, or if it was regular time. I might have done something stupid, Lord knows. But I get back, and they tell me that the verse is done and the song is done. Do I want to hear it? And I'm like, well, of course, like, let's hear this masterpiece. So I hear the song, I hear Moss's verse, and I'm like, I get to my verse, I'm like, go. And then we get to his verse, and like immediately, like as soon as the flow and like the words come on, like I instantly realize, like, yo, this kid is phenomenal. Like this really is some next level shit. Like this is by far some of the greatest shit I've heard, and not even just like local rap. I mean, this is some of the greatest shit I've heard in general. Like this guy is something else that I'm just not on. And like I immediately knew, like, yeah, this nigga washed the shit out of me on this verse. Like this song is his song now. Like this ain't even my song or our song. Like this is just his song. Like nothing else mattered. And the whole time, like he was like Tron was just listening to the shit. Like this was nothing. Like this is just normal for him. Like this is just what he does. This is his embodiment. This is his career. This is what he loves. So like I respected the shit out of that. I'm like, man, like that's great. That is awesome. So like, you know, when I played the song for other people, like I would always pause right after my verse and be like, yo, was that shit hot? Did you like that? Was my verse cool? And they'd be like, yeah, you know, cool. And then I'd be like, okay. Because like I knew after that, like once they heard his verse, like my shit wasn't gonna matter anymore. Like they'd skip the whole song just to hit Tron verse. Because niggas even told me that. So like I was just like, damn, like that's great. So what that taught me was, yo, if I want to do something, I actually have to like hustle and do that. Like I can't just pick some shit up and just be like, oh, I'm good. And like it showed me that like there's something out there that can always wash me in whatever I'm doing. So I need to always be practicing and trying to hustle and trying to do better so that won't happen again. Because I made an oath to myself. I'm like, man, I will never get washed like that on a song. Ironically, I've never made a song after that. Not saying he killed my career, like he didn't do all that shit, he ain't in my career, but like, yeah, I promised myself like I would never get messed over like that. That made me want to do better. That made me, you know, want to eat more. That made me want to drive. Me trying to get way cool after that. Got like tight. And you know, it also showed me that like just because everyone's doing something that you're doing, like oh everyone's a rapper, it doesn't mean that you have to be like all of them. Like everyone might be a rapper, but like all those niggas, they like doing their own thing. They might be trash. They might not really be seriously into it. They might be doing this and doing that. But Tron, like this was literally his life. He was dedicated to it, and you can tell through his art, and you can see that he got much better, and he was just like on another level than all those other rappers. So I couldn't just be like, oh, he's a rapper. I need like trying something else, and you know, having somebody like that around you, that's just great, you know. Like that makes you want to do better. That's phenomenal to me. So you know, that's the first one I wanted to talk about. You know, Tron die. Shout out to him, man. The kid is great. Fucking great. Glad I have him around.
And I regret the shit every time we argue. Looking for truth, to be honest, I don't wanna see it. I broke your heart and I regret picking up the pieces. Don't hold me to it, I just said it cause I'm pissed off. I get a piece of you and now I'm feeling ripped off. Ain't got